still here in Manhattan Beach, and Terrion Arnold has told Chris Lowe of ESPN that he will be entering the NFL draft. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I think it was news that we anticipated. So real quick, if you guys are just checking in, Terrion Arnold will be headed to the NFL draft along with Kool-Aid, JaQuincy McKinstry, two corners that did a fantastic job for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Run the thumbs up inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys being here and following our post-Rose Bowl coverage. I'm still in Manhattan Beach. I'll be actually headed back to Birmingham tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think about this breaking news update. In my opinion, I think it came down to the fact that he had a first round grade. And I know that Dallas Turner was a lock. I think that, J.C. Latham was a lock. But when you look to Terrion Arnold, he was a lock too, in my opinion. But I think in this world of NIL, you can come up with deals to keep some of these guys. So I wanted to, kind of wait on that information to figure out if Terrion was going. But if you're just joining us, hit the thumbs up. Terrion Arnold will be headed to the NFL along with Kool-Aid. Chris Lowe of ESPN just reported that. Also, which was interesting, is he said that Deontay Lawson and Malachi Moore have informed the team that they are coming back. So this is really interesting. Think about this. So you have Malachi Moore, who's a senior, is going to use that COVID year to come back, and Deontay Lawson, a very talented inside linebacker who's also coming back. So the defense will load up at those spots. So that probably gives you an indication of why Earl Little Jr. hit the transfer portal. So with Malachi coming back, that is some major, major news, 100%. And I think when you look to the Alabama defensive backs for next year at the corner position, you have Damani Jackson, who Alabama got from USC, and you also have Trey Amos. Those are two very comparable guys that are going to have a really stellar year next year. Trey Amos, I think he's a very solid player, 100%. And I think that Damani Jackson, depending on his development, should be pretty good as well. And then you have Malachi Moore, you have Caleb Downs as a safety. So 100%. Jeff, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. Trey Amos, very solid as well. So the breaking update is that Malachi Moore will be headed to the NFL draft. Not a shocker. I think, as you guys saw with some interviews, I have a lot of respect for that young man, and with Kool-Aid. I think we all knew that Kool-Aid would be a first-round guy. That was projected way before the season even started. But with Terrion Arnold, there was a lot of people who doubted him coming into this year. They were curious to see how much development he would have year over year. And, that is, So if you guys are just joining, Terrion Arnold headed to the NFL along with Kool-Aid. Malachi Moore and Deontay Lawson will be returning. So, and then Brock's bringing up a great point. You also have Des Ricks coming in. I know people are talking about that as well. Christian Story inside the transfer portal as well. There was 9 guys to enter the transfer portal. If you've been following any of our coverage, a lot of those guys we've listed, and I'll put the names inside the comment box as well on the top so you guys can check out those names. But Terrion was a guy that improved on his game, and I like the business mindset as well, coming up with the whole merchandise deal and these guys developing their own name, image, and likeness. So one other thing that I wanted to talk about, this is a breaking video. I'll be having these throughout the day probably as news unfolds following Alabama's loss to Michigan in the Rose Bowl, was about Ole Miss running back Judkins, right? So from what I heard, he wanted at least $1.5 million from Ole Miss, okay? So Ole Miss is not going to give him that NIL deal, but there's no reason to believe, and Andrew Bone even said this on from Bama Online, to believe that Judkins would be headed to Alabama. But the interesting thing is somebody asked me if there was interest on Jace McClellan going to Ole Miss. Again, when you're talking about rumors, a lot of things are flying right now. And you look to, so maybe keep an eye on that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but somebody did ask me about that. And you look to Alabama's running backs, you're like, well, isn't Jace a senior? Yeah, but he has that COVID year, so he could come back if he wanted to. But you look to Alabama's running backs. I think if I'm Coach Saban, you got to be able to, somehow make Justice Haynes the guy. Him and Jam Miller, I think, are going to be such a formidable combination. Not to take anything away from Jace, because I think he was playing really hot towards the back end of the season. I just think that Justice Haynes, there's something special about him for sure. So people are starting to talk about maybe Jace to Ole Miss. I don't know if that's a rumor right now. Let's label that as a rumor. The expectation is, right, as everybody's saying right now. But what I'm talking about is you got to keep Justice Haynes fed. And I mean, you guys saw it. It's a different gear. If you guys are just joining me, I know different people checking in at different points in times within this video. Terrion Arnold is headed to the NFL. That's the title of this video. Same thing with Kool-Aid. You also have Dallas Turner leaving and Chris Braswell. Those guys are headed to the NFL. They have made formal announcements along with J.C. Latham on the offensive side of the ball. We saw those were coming, but still watching Terrion Arnold. That is really the biggest news, I think, today. But really, I mean, when you have Malachi coming back, I think that's significant news. I think Malachi, honestly, only got better as his career. And I love the fact that he's an in-state guy. He was beat out by Brian Branch. Remember when Brian Branch just completely blew up and started killing it? The one thing that Malachi did was he didn't hit the transfer portal. He stayed tight, and he had a really good year. And I think with him coming back, that's really significant news, along with Deontay Lawson for sure. So really big additions for Alabama's defense. And now when you look to Alabama's defense, you're starting to see a little bit of it. So you have LT Overton coming in. You have Tim Keenan coming back. You have Tim Smith probably coming back. You have your interior linebackers who are going to be Deontay Lawson. Jahad Campbell's an absolutely baller. Your edge rushers, that is going to be the interesting battle that we watch, is the outside edge rushers. Who do you think inside the comment box that is going to be Alabama's edge rushers for this next season? Is it going to be Yonze Pierre and Keon Keeley? Is it going to be Quay Russo? I guess it could even be Quindarius Robinson if he decides to come back as well. I really like Q Robinson's game. I like his wingspan. I think he's super athletic. We didn't get to really play too much this past season just because you have Braswell and Dallas Turner performing at such a high level. So Kyle is saying it's going to be Keon Keeley. I think so as well. Caleb is asking, is Seth transferred out? Yeah, so let's kind of recap some of the news and notes for today. You had Earl Little, who hit the transfer portal yesterday, expected to visit Florida State. That's one to watch. And then you had Seth McLaughlin, who was Alabama's center. He is actually on his way right now to visit with Ohio State. So Seth could end up being a Buckeye. And I think there was a couple people that were interested that he was going to the Big Ten. Yeah, I know, Caleb, but there's a lot to keep track of. I'll continue to list the names, and I'll continue to post things as they come in. But yeah, Seth is checking out Ohio State right now. There was a couple other pieces of news that I wanted to bring up, but I'll continue to have it organized for you the best that I can. But right now, the news that is happening right now that'll be on ESPN all over is Terrion Arnold headed to the NFL, first-round draft grade. How could you pass it up? And also Kool-Aid, JaQuincy McKinstry, and then staying, according to Chris Lowe of ESPN, Malachi Moore and Deontay Lawson. So yeah, and we're keeping watch on the running backs for sure. They haven't made announcements regarding Jace and Roydell, who are both seniors. But what's really confusing right now to track is the COVID year, because basically all of these guys can come back. So we'll keep you posted as best that we can. Oh, Noah. Evan Stewart, Alabama. No, I don't think that's going to be the case for Alabama landing Evan Stewart, but Alabama is going to be fine at the wide receiver position. And as we learn on more names that are going to enter the transfer portal, we'll bring that right to you, as well as names that are going to replace outside linebacker coach Coleman Hutzler, who is going to coach at Mississippi State, along with Holman Wiggins, who is going to be the wide receivers coach at Texas A&M. A lot to keep track of. I know I'm going to do my best to continue to keep it organized right here at Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. Run them up. Get them up. Let's get those thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here for this breaking update. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Terrion Arnold, head of the NFL. Congratulations, young man. Same thing with Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid, J.C. Latham, all those guys about to get paid. And rightfully so, they contributed at such a high level. Yeah, one more time, hit the thumbs up, run them up. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube with this breaking update. Stay tuned for more right here on Bama Football on YouTube.